I want you to think about something like this right now. For example, two different people enter the same room. In fact, they're both around the same age, have similar intellectual capacities, and share quite similar life experiences. However, when one of them enters the room, people, without even realizing it, immediately focus all their attention on that person, want to listen to them right away, and tend to show them much more respect. When the other person enters, it's as if they aren't even there. No one notices them in the slightest. Of course, the difference between them isn't due to any particular talent, nor is it a matter of wealth. As you can appreciate, it has nothing to do with luck. Now I need to tell you this truth. The difference between them actually lies in how each of them presents themselves to the outside world. What we call appearance is by no means merely a superficial impression. On the contrary, I can say it is a clear indication of the respect you have for yourself and how much value you actually place on your life. And many people think changing one's appearance is very difficult, but in reality, there are much simpler ways than people imagine. Throughout this video, I'll be explaining 10 incredibly powerful habits that can fundamentally change the way the whole world treats you. But I want you to know that these are definitely not difficult, expensive, or complicated things. They're habits that have a massive impact when you practice them consistently, disciplined, and reliably every day. If after watching this video, you've truly decided to start treating yourself differently, write this in the comments. I'm ready. Because the moment you write those two words, your brain registers it as a commitment, and a committed mind is far more ready to change. If you're ready, let's start with our first point. 1. Make smiling a habit. Let it be sincere and just as natural. Now, as you might expect, the moment you enter a room, even before you've uttered a single word, the people around you have already begun to assess you in some way. The expression on your face actually reveals everything clearly within just a few seconds. And smiling within that very time frame actually gives you a power that no one else can provide. Think about it this way. Two different people wearing the same outfit, with similar hairstyles and even very similar postures. However, one has a very tense, nervous facial expression. The other is quite natural, sincere, and relaxed, even smiling a bit. Normally, which of these two strangers would you want to approach first? Of course, the one who inspires more trust, who has a more sincere and cheerful face, right? After all, here's a fact. I'd say that a smile is actually the most expensive accessory we have, and it's free. I also want to point out that if you force a fake smile, those around you will notice it clearly. In other words, simply shaping your lips into a certain form isn't enough. A smile that comes from within, with your eyes contributing to it, will be much more genuine and authentic. This way, your smile will truly spread across your entire face. Of course, I'm not talking about showing all 32 of your teeth here. The goal is to reflect that warm, sincere attitude coming from within. Of course, for this to happen naturally, you first need to focus on some small details that will help you feel good about yourself. So, any old memory or thought that makes you feel very happy and brings a smile to your face. This way, you can make what I'm saying feel more sincere. Now, I'd like to ask you this. For example, what kind of feeling do you get when someone smiles at you? Actually, generally speaking, you start smiling back without even realizing it. This situation is definitely not a coincidence. It's something related to human nature. Because when the person in front of you smiles, a sense of warmth and sincerity toward you has formed within them, even if they aren't aware of it. In other words, they feel you're more trustworthy, or perhaps even closer to them. Especially in job interviews or social settings we find ourselves in out of necessity, smiling at people we're meeting for the first time is actually a very effective way to put ourselves forward before we even speak. Because, as you know, words can be easily forgotten, but gestures and sincerity are definitely unforgettable. Making this a habit might seem like a simple thing, but it may require some practical practice. Of course, you can take it step by step, starting small. For example, you could begin by smiling at the cashier as you leave a supermarket, or continue by smiling at a neighbor you encounter in the elevator. As I said, awareness is actually the most important and first step toward change. Over time, smiling stops feeling like something you have to force and starts to feel much more natural and normal to you. Doing it also becomes easier and easier. By the way, if you like my video and aren't already subscribed to my channel, subscribing is the best way to support me. There's also a new feature called Hype. If you click on it, it helps get my videos recommended to more people. Thank you so much in advance for your support. 2. Pay attention to your tone and pace. Aim to speak calmly and clearly. Regarding this point, I'll start by saying this. Imagine two different people repeating the exact same words. Picture one person speaking very anxiously, with a trembling voice, lacking confidence, and talking very quickly. The other person, however, speaks in a measured and calm manner, clearly knowing what they're saying. Which one do you think is more credible? Or, to put it another way, which one is easier for people to listen to and consequently inspires more trust? Based on the example I gave, we can actually understand that voice is truly one of the most important aspects of our image. Unfortunately, people often fail to realize this. They pay attention to their clothes, how they stand, and whether their hair is neat, but they don't pay much attention to the words coming out of their mouths or the tone in which they're spoken. And so, in a way, their business card ends up being a bit incomplete. Because never forget that one of the things that leaves the strongest impression on the other person isn't what you say, but how you say it. If a person is anxious, it can immediately reflect in their tone of voice. So when you speak quickly, the person you're talking to tends to unconsciously perceive you as someone who is nervous and out of control. Of course, this isn't always a very realistic or fair situation, I admit that, but that's how it works. However, when you slow down your pace a bit and leave more small pauses between your words, your voice can actually take on a very different weight. As a result, the people around you are more likely to listen to you more attentively. In a way, you've increased the value of what you're saying. Even if you're defending the same ideas or trying to convey the same information to the other side, you've managed to enhance its impact to some extent. If you think that slowing down your speaking pace is a sign of weakness, you're mistaken, because on the contrary, it's a sign of just how high your self-confidence is. Of course, I also want to touch on the fact that the tone of your voice is just as important as the pace. In general, people who speak loudly tend to give the impression of being more tense and adopting a much more defensive stance. And as you can imagine, those who speak in a very low and monotonous tone also easily lose the attention of their listeners. The key here is to strike a balance, to speak calmly, yet just as vividly and effectively. This way, you'll capture your listeners' attention much more effectively. You don't need to overthink how to do this. Just take a deep breath and try to speak confidently without rushing. You can insert 1 or 2 second pauses. During those pauses, you'll actually gather your thoughts much more clearly. 3. Try to keep your wallet, bag, and accessories organized. The critical point here is this. When people think of appearance, they immediately think of clothes, hair, and the face. But people see you as a whole, and that whole includes the bag in your hand, the wallet you pull out of your pocket, and the bag on your shoulder. These may seem like small details, but the person across from you processes them all without even realizing it. When you place a disorganized, worn-out, or bulging wallet on the table, or when you turn everything upside down while searching for something in your bag, the impression you leave in that moment is tarnished. Regardless of how stylish your outfit is, details are a mirror of your character. To give an example, imagine a wallet stuffed to the brim with receipts, old cards, and unused papers. Every time you make a payment, opening that wallet becomes a struggle. You spend minutes rummaging through it to find your card. The person across from you waits, and you get flustered. But imagine the same scene with a clean, simple, organized wallet. The necessary cards are in their place. It's not bulging, and opening and closing it takes just a second. This isn't just a practical difference, it's the very message you're sending to the person across from you. An organized person is someone who has their life under control. Of course, the same goes for your bag. The bag you carry every day says a lot about you. A bag with a worn-out exterior, sagging straps, and faded color, no matter how expensive it is, makes you look worn out. On the other hand, a modest yet well-maintained, clean and organized bag always sets you apart. The inside is just as important as the outside. When you open your bag, you should know exactly what's inside. Remove everything unnecessary. Keep only what you need. This small habit surprisingly simplifies your daily life. Also, when it comes to accessories, watches, belts, glasses, keychains, even headphones, they're all part of your overall look. A worn-out belt, a watch strap that's faded, or scratched eyeglass lenses stand out. Maybe no one will say it to your face, but the brain notices these details. Accessories don't have to be expensive, but they should be clean, well-maintained, and part of a cohesive whole. Everything you carry tells a story about you. You're the one who decides whether that story is consistent and well-crafted. As you can see, set aside just 5 minutes once a week. Empty your wallet, toss unnecessary receipts, and organize your cards. Go through your bag and clean out the small bits of trash that have accumulated at the bottom. Check the condition of your shoes and review your accessories. These 5 minutes will provide you with practical convenience for the entire week and make you feel more prepared and organized every morning as you head out the door. Small order, big confidence. And this confidence reflects on your face and posture without you even realizing it. 4. It's very important to prepare your clothes for the next day every night. I'd actually like to start by asking you something. How does your day begin in the morning? For most people, the alarm goes off. It's hard to open your eyes, and the first thing you do is rush to the closet. You try to decide what to wear, but your mind isn't fully awake yet. There's time pressure, and in the end, you either grab the first thing you see or fall back on that old go-to outfit. A small chaos has already unfolded before the day even begins, and that chaos sets the tone for how you start your day, even if you're not aware of it. Yet if you'd spent just 5 minutes the night before, that morning could have been completely different. Of course, there's also this. Choosing your outfit for the next day before going to bed might sound like a small habit, but its impact isn't small. When you wake up in the morning, you already know what to wear. You don't have to make a decision. Your mind doesn't have to be occupied with something else at that early hour. You start the day calmer, more prepared, and more focused. This difference might seem exaggerated at first glance, but after trying it for a few days, you'll understand what I mean. Where your morning energy goes shapes the rest of your day. In fact, another major advantage of preparing your outfit in advance is this. You put together a better outfit. When you're not in a rush, you can pay attention to colors, coordination, and details. Do the pants and shirt go together? How well do the shoes match this outfit? Do you need a belt? You evaluate these things not in the half-asleep state of the morning, but with a calm mind in the evening, and as a result, you step out with a look that's much more thought out and forms a cohesive whole. People can't describe it, but they sense it. They say, "This person has a sense of cohesion." Looking at it from another angle, when preparing your outfit, You check if anything needs ironing. You make sure nothing has gone to the laundry. If you notice something with a missing button or a stain, you can replace it in time. Noticing these things in the morning both stresses you out and leaves you feeling helpless, because there's nothing you can do about it at that moment. Preparing in advance eliminates surprises, and a morning without surprises means starting the day on solid ground. Actually, it doesn't take much effort to make this a regular part of your routine. After brushing your teeth in the evening, right before bed, just 5 minutes. Visualize the next day in your mind. Where are you going? What will the weather be like? Casual, formal, or something in between? As you answer these questions, your outfit will naturally take shape. Over time, these 5 minutes stop feeling like a burden and become a natural part of your evening ritual. A prepared person is a person who feels secure. Never forget this. Appearance is a message, and every message requires preparation. People who take care of themselves, are organized, and have high self-esteem share a common trait. They make choices instead of leaving things to chance. Preparing your outfit the night before is exactly that, a small but powerful choice. It transforms your mornings, boosts your confidence, and radiates an energy that says, "I'm ready for this," as you step out into the world. Sometimes the biggest transformations begin with the smallest habits. 5. Wash your face twice a day to keep your skin clean and radiant. Let me start with this truth. Your face is the window to the world. When you talk to people, meet new people, or enter a room, eyes go there first. And the more well-groomed, clean, and vibrant your face looks, the stronger and more positive an impression you leave on the person across from you. But let's be clear. We're not talking about perfect skin or a flawless appearance here. We're simply talking about a clean, well-groomed, and cared-for face. And what you need to do for this is actually extremely simple. As many of us might guess, your face has to deal with an incredible amount of stress throughout the day. Air pollution, dust, sweat, and touch. All of these accumulate to form an invisible yet effective layer on your skin. When you wake up in the morning, the oil and dead skin cells that built up overnight are still sitting on your face. That's why washing your face twice a day, once in the morning and once at night, is the most basic and effective thing you can do for your skin. This habit alone can significantly improve your skin's appearance over time. Of course, the morning wash is like starting the day with a clean slate. Your skin renews itself overnight, and by cleansing away everything that's accumulated on the surface, you begin the day with a refreshed complexion. The evening wash, however, is perhaps even more important, because going to sleep without removing everything that's built up throughout the day means that grime remains in contact with your skin for hours. If you wear makeup, this is even more critical. Every night you skip your evening cleanse, your skin endures a tough night. Washing your face before bed is the most basic expression of the care you show yourself. In addition, the way you wash matters. Very hot water dries out and irritates the skin. Lukewarm or cool water is much better. Wash your face gently, not by scrubbing. The same care applies when drying with a towel. Don't rub, pat it dry lightly. The product you use doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. It just needs to be suitable for your skin and not irritate you. A simple cleanser is sufficient. What matters isn't the product, but the consistent and proper routine. I can say this clearly. As you wash your face regularly, you'll notice that your skin will gradually become less oily and less dull over time. Your complexion will brighten, your pores will become less noticeable, and overall, your face will take on a more rested and healthy appearance. This change doesn't happen overnight, but within a few weeks, you'll see the difference when you look in the mirror. And it's not just you who'll notice this difference. The people you see every day will too. They might not say it out loud, but they'll feel it. 6. Pay attention to dark circles under your eyes. You need to maintain a regular sleep schedule. I want to start with a harsh truth. When people look at you, the first thing they see is your face. And the area that draws the most attention on your face is the area around your eyes. Dark, puffy, tired-looking under eyes, no matter how stylishly you dress or how well you style your hair, can overshadow all that effort on their own. The person across from you might not consciously say, "This person looks tired." But the brain picks up on this signal and, without realizing it, begins to perceive you as less energetic, less trustworthy, and less prepared. Yet a well-rested face does far more than even the most effective skincare product. Of course, lack of sleep isn't the only cause of dark circles under the eyes. Stress, poor diet, excessive screen time, and insufficient water intake also contribute to this issue. But the common solution to all these factors largely converges on the same point: regular and sufficient sleep. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every night helps your body establish a rhythm. Once this rhythm is established, falling asleep becomes easier, and you wake up more rested in the morning. That tired expression on your face gradually gives way to a more vibrant, more alert appearance. In fact, here's another truth. Sleep isn't just about resting, it's also the body's most critical process for repairing and renewing itself. During this process, every system, including your skin, renews itself. When you get enough sleep, your skin looks less pale, your eyes less puffy, and your face less tense. You can't achieve this with any product or trick. You need to allow the body's natural healing process to take its course, and the most fundamental way to do this is to give it enough time. Sleep is the cheapest and most effective beauty routine. I also want to mention that reducing screen time before bed makes a huge difference in this process. That last half hour of lying in bed scrolling through your phone, computer, or watching TV makes it harder to fall asleep and lowers your sleep quality. Instead, try spending those last 30 minutes in a calmer way. Read a book, listen to something soothing, or just lie there in silence. Keeping your room dark and cool also makes it easier to fall asleep. These may seem like small changes, but their impact on your sleep quality is surprisingly significant. Additionally, if you have puffiness under your eyes when you wake up, applying cold water for a few minutes can provide temporary relief. Drinking plenty of water, balancing your salt intake, and reducing stress as much as possible also positively affect the appearance of the under-eye area. But none of these can replace a regular sleep routine. They're merely supportive measures. The real solution is to take your nights seriously. Establishing a sleep routine takes patience, but once it's in place, you'll see the results every morning in the mirror. 7. Make sure your clothes smell fresh. As many of us might guess, people feel something after seeing you, and that feeling often comes from a scent. Scent is the sense that reaches the brain most directly. It creates an impression, leaves a feeling, and forms a decision instantly without you even realizing it. When someone passing by leaves a clean, pleasant scent, that person stays in your mind. The opposite is also true. Even years later, a specific scent can transport you to a person, a moment, or a feeling. That's why the scent of your clothes isn't as simple a matter as it seems. It's one of the most powerful messages you send without even realizing it. Here's another thing. When people think of the scent of clothes, they immediately picture something freshly washed and crisp. But it's not that simple. When you hang a garment back in the closet after wearing it just once, it continues to carry all the scents it absorbed throughout the day. Food odors, car fumes, cigarette smoke, sweat. These seep into the fabric over time and become noticeable the next time you wear it. Since your nose gets used to it, you might not notice it, but the person next to you does. Of course, that's why hanging the clothes you've worn in a well-ventilated spot rather than directly in the closet is a small but effective habit. In addition, how often you wash your clothes is also a key factor. Every garment has different washing needs. A thin t-shirt might need washing after 2 wears, while a jacket might last much longer. But you mustn't forget the difference between visibly clean and truly clean. There might be no stains, no wrinkles, but odors could have built up. Occasionally bring your nose close to your clothes and be honest. This simple check will save you from many embarrassing moments and significantly enhance the overall impression you make on others. In fact, your closet is also part of this equation. Clothes stored in a closet that's been closed for a long time and doesn't get aired out absorb a distinctive, musty odor. This odor that builds up in the closet can eventually transfer to even freshly washed clothes over time. Air out your closet from time to time, keep the inside clean, and leave some breathing room between packed-in clothes. Keeping your clothes neatly hung not only maintains visual order, but also prevents odors from mixing. A little care makes a big difference. Looking at it from another angle, perfume comes into play here, but perfume isn't meant to mask the smell of an unclean garment. Perfume is the final touch applied to an already clean appearance. A light, pleasant scent applied to clean clothing makes you unforgettable. But spraying perfume on a garment that smells bad causes 2 different scents to clash, creating a much more unpleasant impression. First the basics, then the details. First cleanliness, then scent. Never forget this order. 8. Manage your stress, fatigue, and tension. Show on your face immediately. We've reached one of the most important and valuable points. The face doesn't lie. No matter how well you dress or how meticulous your skincare routine is, the tension, fatigue, and stress inside you will somehow reflect on your face. A tightening in your jaw, a constant furrow on your forehead, that blank and distant look in your eyes. These may seem like small signals, but the person across from you picks up on every one of them. They might not consciously think, "This person is stressed," but they sense that energy and, without realizing it, pull back a bit from you, approaching you with a touch more caution. Stress is something visible from the outside, and facing this reality is the first step toward change. Of course, I understand. It's not possible to completely eliminate stress from your life, and that's not the goal anyway. Life is tough, problems arise, and there are moments when you feel pressure. But how you handle stress determines how it affects you. Someone who bottles up their stress, never letting it out, and lives with a constantly tense mind eventually begins to carry that stress both in their body and on their face. On the other hand, someone who recognizes stress and manages it through small but consistent methods looks healthier and radiates a very different energy to those around them. The difference isn't whether you experience stress or not, it's how you manage it. Never forget that movement holds incredible power in this regard. Walking, running, dancing, exercising, these activities clear not just the body but also the mind. Even a 30-minute brisk walk each day can reduce accumulated tension to an astonishing degree. You don't need to go to a gym or have special equipment to do this. Just get up and move. When your body moves, your mind relaxes, and that relaxation shows directly on your face. Tense jaw muscles loosen, your forehead smooths out, and your gaze softens. Movement allows stress to pass through your body and fade away. Also, don't underestimate the power of breathing. During stressful moments, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, which further increases your body's tension. If you're breathing this way unconsciously all day, your body is in a constant state of alert. To break this cycle, pause occasionally and take a deep breath. Inhale slowly, hold it for a moment, then exhale slowly. This simple action begins to calm your mind and body within seconds. Doing this consciously a few times a day will, over time, significantly reduce the effects of stress on your body. Your breath is the most powerful tool you carry with you at all times. For example, create small rituals to clear your mind. This could be keeping a journal, sitting quietly and sipping your coffee, listening to music, or doing a short meditation. What matters isn't the activity itself, but that the moment belongs solely to you. Creating these small islands of calm amidst the day's hustle and bustle prevents stress from building up. Stress released before it accumulates doesn't settle on your face. And when you do this regularly, people will sense that this person is calm, this person is balanced, this person is in control of their life. This feeling creates an impression that no outfit can ever convey. 9. Don't neglect hand and foot care, especially in the summer. Pay extra attention. The critical point here is this. Hands are the body parts most visible and most frequently in contact with others after the face. A handshake, handing something over, placing something on a table, hands are constantly in the spotlight. And the more well-groomed, clean and meticulous your hands look, the stronger the overall impression you leave on the person across from you. But most people don't pay as much attention to their hands and feet as they do to their face or hair. Yet, unkempt hands become a detail that stands out and feels out of place amidst all that careful presentation. Details either complete the whole or ruin it, nothing else. Naturally, nails are at the heart of this matter. Long, chipped, dirty or uneven nails immediately catch the eye. No matter how clean your hands are, if your nails are neglected, your hands will look neglected. Keeping your nails short and neat, cleaning the edges and filing uneven chips, none of this requires much effort. A few minutes a week is enough. This applies to everyone, men and women alike. Well-groomed nails say a lot without saying a word. They say, I pay attention to details. I take care of myself, quietly but effectively. Of course, there's another aspect to consider. Hands aren't just about nails. Dry, cracked or flaky hands also draw attention. Especially during the winter months, hands dry out and become rough very quickly. But in the summer, the sun, the sea and chlorine, these also have a negative effect on hands. Applying moisturizer to your hands once a day, especially before bed, makes a significant difference. This small habit, over time, seriously improves the appearance and feel of your hands. When you shake hands with someone, that first touch says a lot about well-groomed hands. In addition, when it comes to feet, especially in the summer when wearing sandals and open-toed shoes, feet become fully visible. And if those visible feet are neglected, the entire stylish summer outfit instantly gives a different impression. Heels crack and harden if not cared for regularly. Neglected toenails take on a yellowed, uneven and unkempt appearance. You can't ignore any of this. When you wear sandals, everything is on full display. Setting aside time for your feet once a week completely transforms this picture. In fact, you don't need to go to a special place or set aside a large budget for foot care. Simply soaking your feet in warm water for a few minutes at home, gently cleaning the hardened areas, trimming your nails, and then applying moisturizer is enough. Once you make this a weekly routine, you'll notice the difference, and so will others, within a few weeks. When you wear sandals in the summer, those well-groomed feet will let you walk with confidence. A little care creates a great sense of comfort and confidence. 10. Pay attention to color coordination. It's best if the colors you're wearing complement each other. Now here's the thing, my friend. When a person walks in, the first thing they assess is with their eyes, and the eyes instantly process colors, harmony, and cohesion. The human brain doesn't do this consciously, it happens automatically. A clashing, mismatched or disorganized color combination unconsciously creates a sense of discomfort in the person across from you. On the flip side, a harmonious, balanced and well-thought-out color choice presents you as a cohesive whole. No one might tell you, your colors match perfectly, but they'll definitely sense the absence of that harmony. Color speaks before you do. At first, color harmony might sound like a complex, expert-level topic. But once you grasp a few basic rules, choosing an outfit every morning becomes much easier and more effective. The safest and most practical approach is this: limit yourself to no more than 3 primary colors. More than that strains the eye and creates a cluttered impression. Among these 3 colors, one should be dominant, one should support it, and one should remain a small detail. This balance makes even a simple outfit look much more thought out. Of course, some colors always go well together. Knowing this protects you from major mistakes in the morning. Navy and white, gray and black, earth tones among themselves, off-white and brown. These are combinations that almost always work. Using vibrant and bright colors together, however, requires caution. When very contrasting colors like red and green or yellow and purple are placed side by side, they demand serious balance and a sense of style. For starters, using vibrant colors one at a time against a neutral background is a much safer and more effective approach. The best part is this: investing in neutral colors when building your wardrobe provides significant long-term benefits in terms of both practicality and versatility. Black, white, gray, navy, cream, and brown. These colors pair effortlessly with one another and with nearly every other color. Once these basic colors form the backbone of your wardrobe, adding the vibrancy you desire becomes much easier. Even a single vibrant color against a neutral background instantly makes you stand out. Less but right is always better than more but scattered. Additionally, color harmony is actually about conveying a message. Someone wearing colors that harmonize with each other gives the impression of being organized, balanced, and self-assured. This impression comes before words, forming even before you meet someone. You don't need to be a fashion follower, and you don't need to spend a lot of money. Just let the colors on your body speak to each other. Once you make this a habit, you'll feel a sense of wholeness every morning when you look in the mirror and say, "Yes, this is me." And that feeling will be the quiet yet powerful source of the confidence you carry throughout the day. After the 10 points I mentioned in this video, I can briefly say this: when the people around you decide how to treat you, they generally don't rely on concrete reasons. They try to do so based on what they feel inside. And that feeling usually stems from the first impression you give them, as I discussed today. Never forget that you generally don't need to take huge steps for significant changes to emerge. For example, today you can choose just one of them, and tomorrow you can add another. And as long as this continues, over time you'll notice that many people actually start treating you very differently. Because, as you'll appreciate, you've started treating yourself well first. If you found a piece of yourself in this content, knowing you're supporting me brings me joy. Take care of yourself until we meet again. Remember, a woman's grace and determination are the greatest forces that transform the world. Keep writing your story with courage and embrace every day with wisdom.